Okay, so let's start. Uh, so today I'm going to start with Hibernate framework as I told you people. So this is our first enterprise framework. So Hibernate, what is it? Hibernate, I can say that. Okay, before I start, I'm very curious to know. So what you people are aware of Hibernate? Okay, yes. Let me see. What do you people know about Hibernate framework?
It's an ORM.
Okay, yeah, it is based on ORM. Yes. Okay, it's a framework. Yeah. Why it is used?
It serves the purpose of a DAO.
Okay, fine. Let's see. So Hibernate is an ORM framework, and it stands for Object Relational Mapping. ORM stands for Object Relational Mapping. You know, you'll find that here, Object Relational Mapping concept is a fundamental concept for this Hibernate framework. And why it is used, first of all, you might be curious to know why we use this Hibernate framework. So Hibernate framework, it is actually used to interact with the database server. Okay, it is mainly used to interact with the DB. Java applications basically they can take the help of Hibernate framework. Java applications they can take the help of Hibernate framework in order to interact with the database server. I can say that Hibernate framework it acts like a bridge between the Java applications and the database server. Okay, but you know what? In order to interact with the database server, already we saw a framework. Sorry, already we saw an API. We have an API in Java that is JDBC API. A natural question will be already we have an API called as JDBC, then why we need to use Hibernate framework? What is the need for Hibernate framework here? What is the need for Hibernate framework?
It is the advanced technology of JDB. Hybrid is the advanced technology of JDBC.
Okay, it is advanced compared to JDBC. Okay,
So here in Hibernate, we can use the database like objects
you can use
using
database
Hibernate.
like objects. Okay,
And also it is a framework. Hibernate is a framework. JDBC is.
okay. Just a minute, please. Just a minute. Yeah, sorry. So JDBC API, you said objects, but there is one more reason here. Because even you have to satisfy yourself and justify why we have to go with Hibernate when we have JDBC API in place, which is a standard API from Java. Hibernate is not a standard framework from Java. It is provided by third-party open source communities are provided. So why we need Hibernate framework when we got JDBC? Hmm. So this is the first question. So I got some answers, but still I'm not satisfied to be frank. Uh, there is another reason why we need Hibernate. Yes, what do you people think?
In JDBC, we have to write the connection logic all by ourselves.
Hmm.
Maybe in a framework, uh, the amount of effort we need to manage these things will be reduced.
Yeah, that's right.
Managing connections and other
That,
things.
that is one of the reasons. Um, there is another
Uh,
strong reason for this. Yeah. Yes.
Hibernate allows inheritance concept, but uh, but JDBC it will not support.
Okay. So let's have a detailed discussion of the limitations of Hibernate. Sorry, JDBC API first of all. Because yes, of course, you have to justify yourself why you need to go for Hibernate when we have JDBC. First reason, when it comes to JDBC, we have a lot of redundancy, I can say. Okay, so in JDBC, using JDBC, okay, I'll do one thing. I'll just change the heading. Limitations of JDBC, first of all. Limitations of JDBC API. What is it? First limitation is redundant code. We have a lot of redundancy here because you have to manage everything on your own, right from establishing the connection. Every time you want to interact with the database server, creating a statement object or prepared statement object, to managing those objects also, constructing the query. Even for the most regular DB operations, you have to write the queries. You know, you have to execute those queries, read the records. Okay, through the result set, we do that, right? So these are the things which we need to do every time. Almost you'll find that in all the JDBC code, entire JDBC code, the redundant stuff is creating the creating statement objects, prepared statement objects, acquiring the connection every time on our own, constructing the queries, even regular queries, we have to construct them, and then reading the records after we got the results. Once the query is executed, you get the records. You have to read them. That is first issue. Next issue, no transformation support. So what does that mean? Okay, before I talk about this issue, here, okay, I'll talk about another issue. Oh, no, yeah, let's talk about. Before I talk about this issue, I have to make you people realize something. What is it? Have you noticed it? Java is based on object oriented concepts. And you know that in Java, everything is represented as objects, right? I mean, always the data is represented in the form of objects, and we have object oriented concepts which we use in Java always. When we talk about database is based on relational concepts, not object oriented. Database is actually based on relational concepts. I can say that there is a fundamental difference between object-oriented concepts and relational concepts. There is a fundamental difference between object-oriented concepts and relational concepts. Okay, in Java, how the data is represented as objects always, right? How about the database? How is data represented in the database? Yes.
Tables and
So we
using
say
tables.
records, a row, a tuple, right? A row or a record or a tuple. That is how data is represented always in the database. So you will find that there is a fundamental difference, but you will find that always there is a heavy exchange of data between the Java applications and database servers, right? Always Java applications they rely on the database servers for storing the data as well as fetching the data, retrieving it, and updating it, whatever it is. This fundamental difference between the concepts used by the Java and database server, they create a gap between the Java applications and the database server, I can say. Okay, it creates a fundamental. There is a gap here. It creates a gap. You know what? You'll find that it is estimated that we write 30% of the code and we put in 30, I mean, we write 30% of the data access code to fill up this gap. We'll be writing data access code, right? 30% of that data access code is actually used to fill up this gap itself. It is used to fill up this gap itself. 30% of the code means that is considerable amount of code, right? Yes. So always you have to do this. You know, this mismatch which I'm talking about, it is called as impedance mismatch. Okay. We have an impedance mismatch here between Java and database servers. And in order to fill up this gap, a mismatch, we have to write around 30% of code. So that is the fundamental issue here. Because of this mismatch, okay, because of this mismatch, there are various issues which are not addressed by the JDBC. We have this mismatch, and you will find that JDBC API, it never tried to address this issues, which are caused because of this impedance mismatch, I can say. Yes. So what are those issues? What issues you may come across because of the fundamental differences between Java and the database server? That is what I'm going to talk about now. Okay. First is transformation issue. The data representation issue, I can say. First is data representation issue. You see, the way the data is represented in Java and the way the data is represented in database servers is different, right? So let's say you'll fetch a record from the database server. The record which is fetched from the database server, you see that record, a row, is a kind of raw data for the Java application. I can say that this record or row, it is actually a kind of raw data for the Java application. So you will find that here we cannot use that record or row in Java. So what we have to do, you have to transform this record or row into appropriate Java object. Then only you will be able to use that data here. Yes. Now I have a question for you people. Does JDBC API provides any kind of support for transforming the records or rows which are fetched from the database into objects Can we do that? I mean, do we have any support from the JDBC API to transform that records arose into objects? Okay,
No, sir.
actually I can say no. So you won't find any such support. There is no transformation support in JDBC API. So that's the reason why, you see, we have to write that code in JDBC API. If you use JDBC API, you have to explicitly write the code to transform a row into an object, reading the record, okay, from the result set object and storing it into an appropriate Java object that you have to take care of it. Even vice versa also. Even vice versa means if you have if you have an object, if you have to store this object state to the database, the data into the database, you can't just straight away store this object. You have to transform this object into a record and then store it into the database server. You have to transform that object into a record and then store it into the database server. You know what? Even you won't find any support for transforming the record into object here. Sorry, the object into record. Vice versa also not possible. So there is no transformation support. As a result of it, now what happens? You have to explicitly deal with these transformations. That is also one of the most redundant stuff which we'll be doing here, right? Yes. Next, you know, we'll
Query
talk
is
about,
deep.
yeah, let's see. So you'll find that here, the Java applications which are developed using JDBC API, they are DB dependent. Database dependent. So database dependent means what? That means, let's say you have developed a Java application. You have developed a Java application which connects to the Oracle database server. Okay, you have written the Java application which connects to the Oracle database server. Now, I can say that here you cannot use the same application to connect to MySQL database server. Let's say you want to migrate, your client wants to migrate from Oracle to MySQL, and now again you have to start working with this code. So you have to make some changes to this code in order to make this code again work to interact with MySQL server. So what are the changes which we need to do here? You know what? Why I'm saying that we have to make some changes here. I'll tell you. So you know, when we use JDBC API to interact with the database server, we hard code the SQL queries in the application, right? So in the JDBC, you see, always we hard code the queries. For example, you see, so we got this DOs. You see, we have an add product method wherein we have hard coded that insert query. Not only that, even for fetching the records, whatever it is, we always hard code the queries here. So this is what we do generally. The thing is, there is a problem with SQL. What is the issue with SQL? SQL syntax will vary from database server to database server. SQL is native to a particular database server, I can say. You know, If you want to, you'll find that here the syntax, it won't drastically change, but at least there are some differences, including the data types also which are used in SQL. Okay, the data types basically which are used in SQL, you'll find that there will be some differences. Yes, that means if you construct a query which executes in Oracle server, then there is no guarantee that the same query executes in DB2 MySQL service because of syntax issues. Syntax will slightly vary. It won't drastically change, but of course, definitely there are considerable amount of differences here in the syntax. That is the problem with SQL. And you know what? Here, Hibernate, it never tries to address this issue. Sorry, not Hibernate, JDBC API. I'm sorry. JDBC API will not try to address this issue. You got the point, right? So as a result of it, you see, your 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 Java applications which are developed using JDBC API, they're very much database dependent. So if you want to connect to a different database server, you have to change this queries again. You need to change the queries. Yeah. So hope this point is clear for you people, all of you. Database dependent. The main issue is SQL limitation. SQL structure or SQL syntax will vary from database server to database server. As a result of it, you see, we have an issue with Java. I mean, the applications which are developed using JDBC, because we hard code the queries, which is causing this issue called, which is nothing but database dependent. Applications are becoming database dependent. Yes, that is the issue here. So next, I can say that here, Java is object oriented, right? And you will find that inheritance plays a key role in object oriented concepts. And you know that almost every class which we define in Java is based on inheritance. Almost every class which we define in Java, it is based on inheritance. Without inheritance, we cannot think of Java, right? Yes. You know what? On the database side, what do people think? Does database servers, do they support inheritance concept? Database servers, do they support inheritance concept? Database servers, they don't support inheritance concept because they're based on relational concepts, and relational concepts, they don't support inheritance. You know that? There is no support for inheritance in the database service. So you see, Java is based on inheritance. Almost every object which we develop in Java, it is based on the inheritance concept. So what to do then? You see, does JDBC API provides any support to map this inheritance relationships? Objects are based on inheritance. Do we have any support to map these inheritance relationships on the database side? In JDBC API, we have any support for this? I can say no, not at all. So no support for inheritance mappings, I can say. No support for inheritance mappings where in JDBC API. Nil. So you see this inheritance mapping issue, you'll find that in it is caused because of this impedance mismatch itself. Java is based on object-oriented concepts. Database is based on relational concepts, right? So because of this gap, we got this issue, inheritance mapping issue. So and we don't have any support in JDBC to address this inheritance mapping issue. How to map inheritance relations on the database side? Okay, we don't have any support for that. Next, when we talk about tables, and even in Java, we have associations. On the Java side, you you have gone through it. You people might have come across associations between the objects, right? Yes. If you have attended my core Java sessions, yes, most of you people have done that, except few people. So, how associations are represented in Java? Can you people tell me? Yes. How do you represent associations in Java?
For now, we take a reference of the dependent object into the we refer the dependent object in the main object.
Okay, that is one answer which I got. What about others? Okay, I can say simply using references, right? One object will have a reference to another object. Object references. References. One object will have a reference to another object. Objects will have the references to the associated objects. You'll have references to the associated objects. That is how you will represent associations in Java using object references. An object will have a reference to its associated objects. It holds the reference to its associated objects, I can say. How about the database side? On the database side, the associations are represented in a different way. On the database side, associations are represented using foreign key columns, foreign keys, right? Two tables, how the association between the tables is represented using foreign key columns. Yeah. So you see, again, there is a difference the way we represent the associations on the Java side. So we use references. On the database side, we use foreign key columns, entirely different concepts. So do we have any support which helps us to map this associations which we see in Java, represent them here appropriately on the database side? I can say in JDBC, no support for handling associations also. You won't find any support. Even to handle this mismatch, the difference here, the way the associations are represented on the Java side and the way they are represented on the server side, on the database side, you see it's different, and we don't have any support in Java to handle this issue. Yes, to handle this mismatch. Next, I can say that there is no caching support. This is not an issue related to impedance mismatch, I can say. You won't find any support for caching in JDBC. So when I say caching, what does it mean? caching?
Caching is nothing but storing something in memory.
Is a secondary memory, like it can be accessed fast. We can access
Not
the data.
in the secondary memory, in the primary memory itself.
We can access the data very fastly.
You can access the data very fastly.
Is it something like cookies to remember where the cookies remember some data which is used mostly? Hello.
Okay, yeah, I'm listening to you. So actually, let's see what is caching here. We're talking about web caching, but here when it comes to caching in databases, caching is about, you know, maintaining the copy of records which you fetch from the database server, or storing the copy of records which you fetch from the database server close to the application in the memory. Yeah, the records which we fetch from the database server, you will find that here we can store that copy of records in the memory close to the application. Why we need to do this? Because you see, next time you need this record, you don't have to interact with the database server. Instead, simply you can fetch this record from the primary memory, from the cache, I can say, which is close to the application. So, what is the advantage here? You see, we can avoid a DB interaction. We can reduce the traffic between the Java application and the database server. Why we have to do this? Because you know what? If you compare the time taken to fetch the record from the database server with the time taken to fetch the record from the cache, yes, compare these two things, you'll find that the time taken to fetch the record from the database server, of course, it would be more compared to the time taken to fetch the record from the cache. From the cache, you can quickly fetch the record. Why? Because in case of DB interactions, always you have to establish a connection. First thing, establish the connection, construct the query, create a statement object or prepared statement object, execute the query with the help of this prepared statement object or statement object. And then once you're done executing the query, you may get a record and transform that record into appropriate Java object. And then you will start using it. That is what we'll do. Right? Yeah. It's a lengthy process. The entire process is lengthy, right? Now you see, now if you have the record in the memory, already that that record is fetched, it is in the object format, it is in the cache, in the memory, close to the application. The memory which is used by the application, I mean, in the same machine, local host. So now reading that record from that memory, of course, you don't have to go through all this process. You don't have to establish the connection, nothing doing. No statement objects, no constructing queries. Okay. You have an object copy of that record which is stored in that object. Straight away you can read that object and use it in the application. So that is the advantage of using the cache. So cache is nothing but maintaining a local copy of DB records in the memory close to the application to avoid DB interactions or to reduce the traffic between the Java applications and the database server DB. Yes. To reduce the traffic between the Java applications and the database server, you see, we can take the help of cache. So is it clear for everyone? So what is a cache, I mean to say? Hope you people got it. So you see,
Yes.
you will
Sir,
find
can
that
you please repeat? Sir,
entire
can you
thing,
please repeat?
whatever I said completely, my, okay. You see, cache is nothing but maintaining a copy of record, okay, in the locally in the memory close to the application, so that we can avoid DB interactions. We can avoid DB interactions here. So generally, to fetch a record from the database server, you have to construct a query, execute that query, okay, and you see, in order you have to fetch that record and transform it into an object. And then you'll be able to use it. You'll be able to use that record. So we have a lengthy process to interact with the database server. Now we can avoid it if you have that record in the cache. Simply you can read the record from the cache and make use of it. Yes. So to avoid DB interactions, cache is going to help you people. So when you fetch a record, you can just copy that record, store it in the cache. Cache is nothing but the primary memory close to the application. Yeah. So I hope everyone got this. So now you won't find any support for caching in JDBC. So these are several drawbacks, limitations of JDBC. Main concern is, you see, that impedance mismatch, which is caused because of the fundamental difference between the concepts used by the Java and the database server, right? So you see, JDBC doesn't address this issue. JDBC, it won't address these issues related to that impedance mismatch. Okay, this is where your Hibernate framework comes into the picture. Okay, so it helps us to address almost every issue which I've discussed here now. Okay, yeah. So before I discuss any further, I want to show you people how a Hibernate application looks like, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss more of it. Okay, yeah. Let's see.
Sir, what is impedance mismatch?
That is what I said, that fundamental difference between the object-oriented concepts and relational concepts. Java is based on object-oriented concepts. The database is based on relational concepts. That is called as impedance mismatch, we say basically. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
October. Okay. Let me just show you people um, an application which uses Hibernate to just make you people comfortable with what we are discussing. Now let's see how these issues are addressed in Hibernate to some extent. So of course, and through the entire discussion of Hibernate framework, you'll be talking about, you'll be learning how to address all those issues, how to interact with the database server. Now here, for your information, I'm using MySQL database server to connect to the database server here again in Hibernate as well. I'll be using this MySQL server. So let me open this database server once. Okay. Now here, let's say I want to fetch the records from this product table using Hibernate framework. You already know how to do this using JDBC. You'll follow the approach always. That is what I would mention. Establish the connection, construct the query, create a statement object or prepared statement object, execute the query. You'll get the results. Through the result set object, you'll read that record, transform it into appropriate object type, and you'll use it in Java. But let's say here, I have this product table. We have to fetch the product records using Hibernate framework. Fetch the product records using Hibernate framework here. So what to do? So first of all, we have to define a class called as product here. We'll have a product class. Okay. In the product class, initially this is how it looks like. So with this fields, like you see, for to store each column value, you'll declare a property in the product class. You see, to store the product ID, you have ID property. To store the product name column value, you got name property. To store that product price column value, you have price property. For description, you have description property. Yes, and this is just a Java bean. Yeah. So I'm just showing you that class definition here. That's it. This is not Hibernate project. Now let's go to this Hibernate project here. Now, in order to fetch the record from the database server, you'll also be using a similar product class. Now, to fetch the record from the database server, this is the code which I'll be writing in Hibernate framework. You know, in Hibernate framework, we got a component called as session. In Hibernate framework, you'll find that we actually got a component called as session. I can say that session is the primary component which helps a Java application to interact with the database server. The session is the primary component which helps the Java application to interact with the database server. You see, you will obtain a session. I'll discuss more of it later on, how to obtain the session and all. You see, in the session component, who's providing the session? The Hibernate framework. Session component is from Hibernate framework. Okay. So in the session, we have a method called as get to fetch the record based on the ID, product ID. You can call this method called as get, and you have to pass the product class name and then the product ID. You see 101. We have a record whose ID is 101 here. I want to fetch that record, so I'll simply pass that product ID here. That's it. Straight away, we'll get a product object. Straight away, you'll get a product object here. Okay. Yeah. Just a minute. Hi Vishant, you're late today. So I'm talking about Hibernate framework. Okay. Yeah, I've started the discussion. I'm just showing the sample code of how Hibernate works here. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So, you see, now just the single line, the statement is enough to fetch the record from the database server. The single line is enough to fetch the record from the database server, I can say. Okay, this looks cool, right? Yeah. You know, but where is the database connection code?
Yeah, that is what I was
Yeah.
about to ask.
Okay.
How does it know that it has to open
Yes.
that database?
Yes, I know you people will be very curious to learn, to know how it works. Let's see. So you will find that here we don't see any database connection code, and there is no query, nothing. You see, if you were to write the same code to fetch the record from the database server using JDBC API, you know the process. But here, just in a single line, you're able to fetch the record. You see straight away you got a product object here, that too. In this product object, you got that record. So because you got the transformation support in Hibernate framework, yes, you got the transformation support in Hibernate framework. Hibernate framework itself will take care of transforming the record which is fetched from the database server into a product object. Yes, and vice versa also. So generally, when it comes to Hibernate framework, we are not responsible for establishing any connections and all. Then who will take care of it? The Hibernate framework itself will take care of it. So, but we need to just provide the database details. Okay. You will provide those database details through the Hibernate configuration file. We have a file called as hibernate.cfg.xml. We have a configuration file, an XML file basically. You see, this is an XML file in which you will find this Hibernate configuration details. So you'll find the database details here. You see, the driver class, the row password, the URL, the username. This is how you'll provide those details. Yes. Okay. So then you'll find some additional properties also, configuration properties like dialect. So dialect, I'll tell you what is it. Okay. So that is how you'll provide the configuration details, database configuration details. Now the framework will take care of establishing the connection and all. Okay. But still there is one thing missing here. What is it? How the framework will know with which table it is supposed to interact. I mean, it has to fetch the record from which table here. How the Hibernate will have these details to, with which database server it is supposed to interact. Yes,
Show SQL.
not
Like
sure SQL. You will have it here
MySQL.
in the product class itself. In the product class itself, you'll have this mapping details. We use this metadata, or you see, this is annotations basically. On top of this product class, if you can check this table annotation, you have the details about the table, I can say. So to which table this class is mapped, table called as product here. And you will find that here, each property is mapped to a column. Using the column annotation, the column details are configured here. You see, table to column mappings are there. You see, product ID, product name, description, and price. So why we have to map these columns to the properties? You see, because Hibernate should understand, right? When it fetches a record, the column values, they have to be stored into which properties here in this object. The column value which is fetched here from the database, that column value, it has to be stored into which property. This mapping this class and the properties to the table in its columns respectively, it is called as object relational mapping, ORM. ORM, object relational mapping. So you will find that here the class, it represents objects, right? And the table, the other name for the table is relation. So objects to relational mapping, that is what we are doing. So you see, that is the main reason why we are providing this class name here to the get method, so that Hibernate will read this mapping information. To the get method, you see, we are passing the product class name, so that Hibernate framework will read this information about the table's mapping here. So this product class is mapped to which table, so that accordingly it can construct a select query to fetch that record from the database server and accordingly transform that record into product object. Because you see, here the table is mapped to this class. When the records are fetched from the table, those records will be transformed into this class objects, product class objects, I can say. And the data you see from that record is read. The data from the record is read. And it is stored into this object properties appropriately here. Yes. The entire, you see, uh, process of transformation, it is taken care by the Hibernate framework with the help of this mapping itself. Yes, Madhavi.
The question is like, if we represent this way, no need of writing these getters and setters?
We need getters and setters, of course.
You need.
How will it, because these are private properties, right? It's a Java bean. Basically a Java bean. So we'll follow Java bean specifications here. Always that is what you'll do.
Okay, got it.
We got getters and setters. Okay. So you see, this way Hibernate will use the database details which are configured in the XML file to establish the connection. To construct the query, it will use this object relational mapping information, and not only to construct the query, also after the record is fetched, transforming that record into object also. You see, for that Hibernate will take the help of this mapping itself. Just straight away you got an object. That's it. Most of the redundant stuff which we write in JDBC, now you won't find it here. See, redundancy is avoided. Now we have, you see, we can just call this methods of the session. You see, we don't have to write the query. Transformation support is there. Straight away you got objects. Even vice versa. For example, here, if you want to add a record to the database server, then what you will do, I guess I've deleted that code. Okay, let me just quickly write that code here. I'm just giving you people an idea. This is just a high level overview of how it works. Okay, so definitely we'll develop this application from the scratch. We'll learn how to do all these things, whatever you're looking at here. But for time being, because only theory will not help you people to understand the concepts. So just showing you people how it works here. And later on, definitely we'll be working with this code as well. We'll develop the project right from the scratch. And we'll do everything here from the scratch itself. Yes. Now let's say we have a product object. If we can check this. Now you see, we have some data here in this product object, and I want to store this data into the table in the database server. Okay, if you were to use JDBC API, you know the process what to do. I guess I don't have to explain it again. In Hibernate, what you will do straight away, you will call a sessions method called a save. So as I told you people, session is the primary component here. So what are all the DB operations which you want to perform here, you are going to do that through the session itself. So you will call this sessions save method and pass the product object of this. That's it. Okay. So you see, now the rest of the things will be taken care. Hibernate framework itself will establish the connection, constructs an insert query. It will construct an insert query. It will transform the product object into record. It reads the data and it inserts that record into the database server. But the thing is here, additionally, you'll find that we have some transaction code. Yeah. Hibernate always recommends you people to use a transaction when performing non-select DB operations. Whenever you're performing non-select DB operations, you have to actually use a transaction context. Yes, we'll discuss more of this transaction later on. Okay, I hope now you have got an idea of this Hibernate framework. Basically, how it addresses most of the issues you see. So transformation issue, you saw that. Redundancy issue is addressed, and DB dependent issue. How about this DB dependent issue here? You see, in case of Hibernate framework, we don't have to write any. Most of the times, we don't write any queries. Even if you have to write the queries, you'll go for HQL. But generally, most of the times, we don't use SQL here. You will find that we don't have to write a query. Hibernate will generate the query. Of course, to interact with the database server, you need a SQL query. Hibernate will generate the query on the fly based on the database server with which it is supposed to interact. If Hibernate is supposed to interact with MySQL server, then it generates a select query which is native to MySQL server. If Hibernate is supposed to interact with Oracle server, then Hibernate generates a query, SQL query, which is native to Oracle server. So this way, always it depends on the database server. The query generation, Hibernate generates a query based on the database server with which it is supposed to interact here. Yes. Yeah. That is how it works. Okay. So how Hibernate will know it is supposed to interact with which database server? The dialect, if you can check this. The dialect, it helps Hibernate framework to understand it is supposed to interact with which database server. You see, here we have specified the dialect name as MySQL 5 dialect. So it generates a native SQL query which is appropriate to MySQL server. So similarly, in order to, if you want Hibernate framework to generate a query which is native to Oracle server, then specify the dialect name as Oracle dialect. Yes. Based on the dialect, the Hibernate framework will appropriately generate these queries dynamically. Yes. And regarding the other limitations which you got here, so see inheritance mapping, handling associations, and showing it later on. So of course, so we are not done. Just a high level overview. We just started. Okay. Yeah. Fine. So now you got an idea of what Hibernate framework does, right? Yes. In order to work with Hibernate framework, I want to use Maven tool, Eclipse and Maven both. Okay. So first of all, here we'll go through this Maven tool, which we'll be using in Hibernate framework. Okay. Not only for Hibernate, from now on, even Spring, web services, everything, whatever you'll come across here, we'll be using this Maven tool to create the projects. Okay. So later on, I'll show you even Gradle. I've decided to show you people how to work with Gradle also. We have another tool called as Gradle, which is also used as a build tool. Yes. So Maven is actually considered as a build tool. What is Maven? It's a build tool. So, I'm just keeping this Hibernate for a while aside, and let's talk about this Maven tool. And so that, you can learn how to create a project using Maven, where we'll be able to manage the project dependencies using Maven. Also, it helps us to build applications and all. So when I say project dependencies, that means the libraries. Okay. Yes. So here, you know what? So most of the times, it helps us in automation, so that we don't have to worry about managing the project dependencies. So Maven is actually provided by Apache Software Foundation. Maven is from Apache Software Foundation. So let's check this Maven tool. Okay. Yeah. So uh, I want someone to share your screen. I need a volunteer who can share your screen so that I'll show you how to configure this Maven on your machines. Okay. So who will do that?
I will do that, sir.
Okay. You don't have Maven on your machine, right?
I think I don't.
If you have it, I can't show you. Because already even I have Maven on my machine. So I want someone who didn't install Maven, didn't configure Maven in your machines. Yes.
I can.
Okay, fine. We'll make Madhavi the presenter. So all of you can just follow this. You can try configuring this Maven, following these instructions now. Everyone can do this quickly. It won't be a big deal. Okay. You just follow up. This is the link for Maven. Sorry, just a minute. I pasted here in the GoToMeeting chat.
Do you want me to click on download?
Just a minute. Just scroll down.
Mhm.
Oh, I guess on the left side you'll have that. Sorry, you can just go. Yeah, you can click on download. I guess it will take you to that page.
Okay.
Okay, now you can just come down, scroll down a little bit.
Okay.
Still, yeah, here you see all of you. Just could you please copy that link and paste it here?
This one?
Chat. Yeah.
So which one do you want me to?
Yeah. Now you have binary zip archive in the second row. You got that link. Yeah. All of you check this. Just a minute. All of you check this here. You have this binary zip archive. So this is the one which I want you people to download. Okay.
Let me know when to click.
Yeah. I hope everyone, just a minute. I hope everyone, yes, you got the link and hope you're there in that page. Yeah. Okay, Madhavi, you can just download it.
Save or just open?
Save it. You have to save it.
Okay. It's scanning.
Okay. So once you're done downloading that zip file, you can copy that, or you can extract that zip here itself in the downloads. Extract it. Yeah. So once that you got that extracted folder, you can copy that extracted folder and you can place it somewhere safe where you won't move it again. You should not move it again. Place it somewhere safe so that you won't delete it or you won't move it. Yeah.
Program files or else user locations?
Not in the program files, somewhere else. In the users, wherever you want. Generally, everyone will have a folder to store the softwares and all, right? So you can just use it, something like that. But you won't move it. You should not move this folder again. Okay.
Okay.
So all of you.
Maybe. I'll create a new folder then.
Okay, you wish. According to your comfort, everyone, you can do the same.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, yes, what you can do is here, you can actually uh, just, yeah, I need to, I want you to copy that folder location. Okay, just enter into that folder, open that folder, Apache Maven folder. You'll find a bin file here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, just a minute, please. Just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So this
Now
bin
you
location.
copy. I want you to copy that bin folder location till here, till bin. Copy the path till bin. All of you, copy the path till bin this
Mm-hmm.
way. Okay, everyone. You can copy the path till bin this way, and then you go to the um, advanced system settings. My computer, you'll have it right. Yes. Environmental variables. Advanced system settings.
Yeah. Where-
Wow, just a minute. You have environmental variables. Just a minute. Go back, close this, I'll tell you. No, not here. Don't, yeah, edit the system environmental variables. Yes. Even if you click on my computer, you'll get those, get these options. Okay. Yeah. So you see down you have environmental variables button. Uh,
Where
Here
is that?
the system variables down under the system variables. All of you can check this. In the system variables, you'll find a path variable. You'll find an environmental variable called as paths under the system variables. So you have to edit this path here. Yes. Now what you'll do is you have to click on edit text. Down you have that option edit text, or else you can do this. Yeah. Oh yeah. Click on edit text and go to the end. Go to the end of this path. Do not disturb the existing path. You'll end up with issues. So go to the end of this path and then add a semicolon and then paste the path which you got till bin folder. Okay. That is what you need to do, all of you. Paste the bin folder location path here. That's it. And click on OK. In the path variable, you have to append that Maven path here. Yes. Maven bin folder path, you have to append it here. That is what you need to do. Click on OK. All OKs. Don't cancel anything. All OKs. Yeah. Okay. Now you can close this, close everything, open the command prompt. You can open the command prompt, and here you can type in MVN, MVN, M for Mumbai, yeah, V for victory, N for what else? Nagpur. Okay, nothing. Yeah, space hyphen version, hyphen version. Type in version. There should not be any space between hyphen and version. Okay, that's it. So press enter. You see, all of you, when you type in that command mvn space hyphen version, you should see this content, whatever you got here. So if you see this content, I can say that your Maven is configured successfully. Okay, and there is one more thing which you need to do. I'll tell you. But before that, all of you, are you done with this configurations? Everyone? Simply you can remove that folder which you got and then add the new one. Okay, that is how we can reconfigure it. You can download the new one, new folder, and you can just reconfigure it. Actually, if you're using Linux or something like that, you will have the support, but here you can't do anything from the command line. Okay, anyone needs any help in this regard? Are you people done, everyone? There is one more thing which you need to configure, I'll tell you. Before that, I just wanted to make sure that everyone is done with it. Yes? Okay. Next, you also need to make sure that you configure Java JDK path. Okay. I want you people to configure the Java JDK path here. Yes. So go to that Java folder where you have you got Java. Where is Java configured? I mean, where you have installed JDK. Program files. Generally, it will be in the program files. Java folder will be there. On top, it is Java folder will be there. So open this Java folder. Here you have JDK. Open the JDK folder. And you copy the path till that JDK folder. Okay, copy the path to JDK. And now, again, you have to go to that environmental variables.
Edit.
Yeah, now you have to add a new environmental variables in the user variables. You can do that. That's enough. Go to this user variables. On top you have user variables, right? In that you can click on new button. You'll find new button. And you can add that variable name Java underscore home in caps. Java underscore home in caps. And you can configure that paths. Whatever path you have, just paste that path here. Okay, you can just close it. Click OK is all. That's all you need to do.
Okay.
Okay, so you're done configuring Maven. You will find Maven in your machines now. Yes. So now let's do one thing. I'll show you once from the command line how to create this Java project using Maven. Okay, Maven helps us in creating a Java project and build that Java project here. From the command line, we can do that. Uh, because first of all, it is important for you people to understand Maven because you'll be using Maven frequently and making sure that you're comfortable with it. Yes. So you see, I have a folder called as MVN work. You can create any folder you wish. And what I will do is here from the command line, I'll move to that folder. So here I've got Maven MVN work. Now what I want to do is here, using Maven, I want to create a project. I have some basic stuff to explain here. While creating this project, I'll explain that basic stuff. What is it? Let's see. You know, to help you people to understand and learn Java, Maven quickly. Okay, so here you will find Maven 5 minutes tutorial. I'm going to use the tutorials for you people. It is from the Apache Maven itself, Apache Software Foundation itself, from the official site itself. You'll find this guides in the official site itself. See, this is a link for that. You can take this link. So in this 5 minutes tutorial, now you have the complete guidelines to help you people to learn and create a Java project using Maven and build it and run it. Yes. So here, first of all, you have this Maven script. So you see, we have to instruct the Maven to create a, a simple Java application. Okay. Yes. A simple Java project, I can say. Let's ask Maven to create a simple Java project. Yes. Just a second. Okay. Here you see we have this Maven script. This is actually called as a Maven script. So this Maven script, it helps you people to create this Maven project. So always you see to invoke the Maven, we use this command called as MVN. To invoke the Maven tool, we use this command called as MVN. Yes, MVN. And then followed by this command MVN, we have the details about the project. Okay, we have this instructions to this Maven tool. Archetype generate, which instructs Maven to create a project here. This archetype generate, it instructs Maven to create a project. So followed by that here, you see you got -d group ID. Group ID is used to configure the details about the package structure which you want to use here in this application. So what is the packaging structure which you would like to use here? You see, that packaging structure you'll specify it here. Let's say I want to go with com.mtc.app. Okay, group ID equal to com.mtc.app. This is what I want to do. So now you wish anything is fine. Okay, so generally most of the companies, what they do is they provide the domain name. First of all, it is what type of application, and next first is domain name. Here you see com, what type of application it is. Then the company name, and then followed by the package name here. Domain name, company name, and the package name. So this is the order, the application name, and followed by that again you can have sub packages here, and that application may have several modules. For each module you can create a package again. Yes, for each module you can create a package here. Yes, so com.mtc.app, that is what we got here. So your wish, it can be anything as I told you. Okay, the packaging structure which you got here, yes, you will specify it here. Next, you have artifact ID. So, group ID is package name. Okay, to provide the packaging structure, you'll use group ID. Next, we have artifact ID. What is artifact ID? Artifact ID means the application name. What is the name which you want to give to this application here? Okay, it's your wish. Now here it says my app. You can use this name, or you can use any other name. Let me see if there is already an application with my app. Okay, already there is an application with the name my app. Here in this folder I have it. I'll do one thing. My app. Let's say December 17. Let me just do this. So this is the application name. So using artifact ID, you will provide the project name, the application name. Okay, this is the application name now. What is it? My app December 17. That's it. So what's next? Here we have archetype artifact ID. Okay, this is important. So archetype artifact ID means the template. Archetype artifact ID means basically we are referring to the template which is used to create this project. You know what? Here Maven provides different templates for creating different types of projects. For example, if you want to create a web application, you got a different template. For core applications, you see, for simple projects, you have a template. For applications which uses frameworks like Spring Hibernate, you will find a template. For everything, for web services, you will find a template here. So you have templates, so which will provide you a general skeleton of the application. The template will give you the general skeleton of the application, I can say. Yes. So you see, in this case, we are using a template. What is the template name? Maven Archetype Quick Start. It means it's a very basic template which creates a very basic Java project, I can say. It actually creates a very basic Java project. That is what this template does. Maven Archetype Quick Start. So followed by that, we have this interactive mode false. If you don't set this interactive mode false, then every time Maven does something, it will ask you for the confirmation. It will ask you to give the confirmation here. Yes, that is what it does. So we don't want Hibernate to ask for confirmations every time. Instead, we want to proceed, yes, without taking any confirmations here. Okay, yes. So Now, this is your Maven script. We have to execute it in the command line, from the command line. Copy this Maven script, okay, and then you can paste it here, okay, in the command line, paste it, and press enter. You can press enter. You see, based on this information, now Maven creates a project for us based on this information. If you can check this. So here, now in this folder, sorry, in this MVN work folder, you should see a new folder. You see, just now it is created, the time and date also. You open it, you'll find this My App December folder. In this folder, you see, you'll find a pom.xml file. Pom stands for Project Object Model. So, which is the main configuration file, which is used by the Maven tool, in which you'll provide the configuration details here of how you want Maven to manage this project. So Maven, you see, you can instruct the Maven through this configuration file itself actually. Through this Maven file itself, you'll provide the instructions to the, through this pom.xml file itself, you'll instruct the Maven tool. Okay. And you have the complete information about the project here in this pom.xml file. What is POM? Once again, I'm repeating, Project Object Model. You have the complete information about the project here in this pom.xml file. So let's try to read this file. At least we'll try to understand a few things here from this Maven, from this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I tried to run it, but it is saying that my Java home environmental variable is not defined correctly.
Okay, I guess one more thing is, you may not have configured the bin path. Can you do one thing? You have to copy the path till bin folder, JDK path, bin folder.
Let me check. I think I did. Let me check it again.
You have to configure that path as well till bin, and add it to that path variables which you got in the environment. User variables you have path, right? In that path you have to configure till JDK bin, not Java home, JDK bin folder.
No, it is bin. Till bin.
JDK bin.
Yeah, JDK/bin.
It should work actually then. So are you able to execute this commands Java C, Java?
Yeah, it's giving that. What is that? No. Let me. It's
Java,
giving a message that Java home should point to JDK, not a JRE.
Okay. Did you open that command prompt just now recently, or was it open earlier?
Oh, that Maven was open, but I forgot to close it.
Close it and restart your command prompt once.
Okay.
I have the same error too, sir.
Okay. Generally, if JDK bin path it's not configured, then you will see this error.
Yeah, same problem. Java home environment is not defined correctly.
Okay.
I can show you if you want, like.
Okay, so we'll see. I'll tell you how to. We'll see how to fix it. Uh, Others, are you people able to execute this command, mbn command? I mean, that maven script command which I gave you.
For me also the same thing, sir.
Okay. So what is the error which you're getting?
The same error actually whatever she told me. The Java home environment variable is not defined correctly. This environment variable is needed to run this program.
Yeah, it has to be configured this way. You can check it in your messages.
Actually, Java home should point to a JDK, not a JRE.
Yeah, you have to configure it to the JDK itself. This is what you should see. Just now we have configured it, right? It should be referring to the.
Yes, sir.
So, is it referring to the JDK?
Yes, sir. It is referring to JDK only.
Okay.
So your variable is your Java home is only till JDK, not /bin.
No, it's not till /bin, as I told you. It should be referring to JDK.
Oh,
And
Trial.
path will be referring to JDK bin. In the path
okay.
variable,
So
you have
I
to add
think
it to bin.
we need to remove that /bin.
Or did you add it till bin, all of you?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to remove bin.
Okay.
That is only JDK folder. Yeah.
Okay.
In the path, you have to configure it till bin. In the path environmental variable, it
So
should.
path again we have to do.
Yes.
Path also.
Yes.
Okay, we didn't do that.
But by default, when you install Java, you'll be doing it. I thought you people have done that.
Let me check. I don't think we did that.
Try to configure it in the path one, all of you. This event setup is important. I mean, if you want to work from the Eclipse, you don't need this setup. But still, sometimes you will run this command from the command line. It's better to have it. You see, in the path variable, I did this. If you can check this, all of you, C program files, Java, JDK, bin, in path variable again. Okay, Harsha, you're able to do this, right?
Yeah, something is running now.
Yeah. Rajani also. Okay.
It's down.
Okay. So you should see a folder this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It worked for me also now.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So I'll do one thing. I'm running out of time today. So because I've got at least it will take 20 to 25 minutes to explain all this stuff, or half an hour also. So let's do one thing. We'll discuss about it in the next session. Okay. Now you saw how to create a Maven project. In the next class, we'll get into all the details, dig into all the folders and files, and some commands in the Maven. Yeah. So we'll meet tomorrow again at same time, and we'll continue our discussion. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
So
thank you.
yeah, thank you all. Meanwhile, Aman, you can just call me. Aman, can you hear me? You can just call me on this number. Aman.
Let me write it down. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me make a note. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So can you share, sir?
Yeah.
Can you share that command, whatever you executed, that Maven command? Can you paste it here?
This is the command.
Like you executed the Maven archetype group.
Yeah, that is
group
the
ID.
command which I pasted out there in the GoToMeeting chat.
Is there?
Okay.
Thank you.
So okay then. Thank you all. Aman, please call me now itself. Again, I will have a call in 10 minutes. Okay. Thank you all. Bye bye.
Thank you.